Hi, I'm Melanie from Nova Scotia, Canada, and this is Adventures in Groceryland. Today is Friday. This is our weekly meal video. We had some fabulous meals. The last several weeks, it has been so incredibly hot here that a lot of the meals were cold meals, and we were able to transition away from that a little bit back to some stovetop cooking because the heat, that temperature, that broke a bit, and so there's been a bit cooler weather. We had some really phenomenal meals. Check it out. It rained overnight. It's cooler than it was yesterday. That's pleasant. Hopefully that stays. But we're going to go with an iced coffee again this morning. I've got the craving for a fish burger, and the handsome ones wanted me to put in chicken tenders. So we are going to have these for lunch today. The simplest of simple meals today. Fish burger, and it has relish and ketchup and cheese. And chicken strip, and chicken strips for the handsome one. I'm not sure what sauce he'll use, so probably something hot. As soon as we realized that the heat had broken a bit this morning, I took a club pack of ground beef out of the freezer. We decided we were going to make a stovetop meal and take advantage of just a different type of cooking while it was a little bit cooler. This is 2 pounds, or just over 2 pounds of meat. I'm going to only need half of it for the meal tonight. I'm going to make cheeseburger pasta, and I'm going to use this gluten-free rotini that I had in the freezer. I don't even remember where I got that from. And it's like a casserole. It's kind of like a hamburger helper, only no additives, preservatives, sodium, all that jazz. So I'm very excited about that. This is looking good. I added some frozen veggies, onions and peppers, and you have to add the mixture, the package, into 2 cups of water. So that's hydrating right now. All right, this is cooked and still sizzling away. First thing I need to do is add in the 2 cups of the broth mixture. I will scrape that out with a spoon after. And add 2 cups of fusilli or other small pasta. We'll get this all stirred in together. And this is a 1-pot dish, my absolute favorite kind of stovetop dinners. Get this all stirred in. And then I'm going to cover it. The really cool thing is my wok lid fits this frying pan. This frying pan doesn't have a lid, so that works out really perfect. And we'll bring this back to a boil now, or simmer anyways. This is looking great. The pasta is cooking up. This recipe also calls, once this is done cooking, 1/3 of a cup of milk and a cup of grated cheddar cheese. So that's going to make it really delicious. All right, first 1/3 of a cup of milk. Second cup of cheese. Let's get that all stirred in. Once served, we top it with diced pickles and tomatoes because, you know, cheeseburgers have pickles and tomatoes. This smells great. Looks really, really good. Yummy. Time for supper. Toasted tomato sandwich with cheese. It's that time of year. That looks so delicious. I'm excited. And how do you like your toast toasted? I'm a very, very light golden brown. What's your preference? We're going with a really simple supper tonight. I'm just making a kind of a loaded scrambled egg, or egg scramble. I'm going to add peppers, onions, spinach, a little bit of milk, cheese, and I'm going to see what cold cuts we have in the fridge. I added in some pepperoni. You can see there, because that's what I have. This is going to be fine. Exciting. I've added the cheese. This is coming along great. We are going to serve this with salsa and also some sliced avocado. We're not having a huge supper because we are invited out later tonight. So, yeah. I am making sandwiches for lunch today. We're going to we've got cold cuts, we've got tomatoes, cucumbers, mayo. I'm going to have butter on mine. The handsome one was mentioning spinach. He wants his toasted. Let's get started. All right, we've started with the toast, the cold cuts. The sandwiches look great. Let's get them covered up here. Awesome, very happy. That looks amazing. So I used half of this ground beef for a casserole the other night, and now we're going to use the rest to make tacos. I'm pretty excited about this. I'm going to add some onions in right as I'm cooking it. I've got an old Epicure taco packaged seasoning mix. So of course Epicure has been done since January, I guess just of this year. But before that, they had discontinued this seasoning packet long before and only had the jar mix. But I love this one because instead of just taco seasoning, it's also got like the onion powder and garlic powder, and it's got a thickening agent in it, just like a package mix that you would buy off the shelf at the grocery store, except low sodium. Looking good. All right, we are going to add 1 cup of water. The seasoning pack. And let's get this all stirred in. Two of my avocados from my flash food box. And we're going to add in a little bit of spices. I'll add either some lemon or lime juice. Oven on at 375. We'll pop these shells in. And we only really started heating these shells a couple years ago. I mean, the box directs you to heat them, but we never did. We actually love them heated. Yeah, way better. I've got the toppings ready. I've got salsa, cheese, sour cream, guacamole. I just added a little bit of extra spice to that I need to stir in. Tomatoes, and we don't have any lettuce, but I cut up some spinach. Tacos. These 4 items are the softest pieces of fruit that came in the flash food box that I purchased for this week's groceries. So I want to use these ones up right away. So I'm going to use them in a smoothie. I also have yogurt, juice, flaxseed, and I'm going to get out some protein powder. And I'm contemplating whether I'm going to put any of the frozen strawberries in or not. We're going to see what this looks like. Oh yeah, and spinach. I almost forgot. I only used 3 of the 4 plums. This is pretty full. I added that is the juice. I'm going to blend this up first before I decide what else I'm adding in. Well, that's a pretty vibrant color. Let's add a little bit of spinach or maybe the flax and nothing else. These look pretty amazing. Wow. The weather today has been flip-flopping back and forth between rain, cool, windy, and bright, bright sun. But even though it's sunny, it still has that bit of cool. I'm going to take this opportunity to make some pizza soup. This will be good to have in the fridge for a couple of days anyways for some easy lunches. And I have been really, really waiting to use this big can of diced tomatoes that I got at Bargain Harley's. Oh, geez, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago. This is Italian peeled plum tomatoes in tomato juice. And this recipe calls for a 48-ounce can of tomato juice plus a 19-ounce can of tomatoes. So I'm double dutying both of those ingredients. I'm simply going to use this can. I've also got pepperoni, onions, peppers. This recipe doesn't call for mushrooms, but I'm adding mushrooms in because I like mushrooms on pizza. Let's get started. I didn't think the piece that I had was quite enough. That was the last of my old pack of pepperoni. So I've actually opened up the new pack that I got maybe 2 weeks ago at Costco, and I used a small piece out of that. I've got it diced, so I cut the pepperoni into slices and then I quartered those, bite-sized pieces. And now I've got it in a pot and I'm going to boil it, and we're boiling the fat off. All right, so this is what it looked like inside the can. It was a really thick sauce. So I've added a tiny bit of water because I rinsed the lid off. So I just poured water into a glass and then held the lid over this, poured the water onto the lid to get off all of the residue. So I need to cut up the tomatoes and stir this up just to see what I've really got. The tomatoes are cut up. I haven't decided if I need to add more water in this or when I add the vegetables and they're cooking, if that will be enough liquid. Pepperoni is boiling. I did rinse out the can, so at least that much water is going into here. We've got the onion, green pepper, yellow pepper, and mushrooms. I'm just going to turn the heat on now. Just getting it on. We'll stir all of this in. And I mean, if I need to cut or dice some of these tomatoes into smaller pieces as I see those, I actually can do that. I just used kitchen shears to cut those up. Let's get this even more further along. And we'll add in the pepperoni. 1 teaspoon of basil, 2 bay leaves, and I know that looks like more than 2, but they're broken, so I think that's probably the equivalent of 2. Well, maybe 1 more. Teaspoon of crushed chilies or red pepper flakes, a teaspoon of pepper, teaspoon of sugar. Well, it actually calls for a tablespoon, so I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons. And I'm doing a heaping teaspoon of garlic. It's the minced garlic. The beauty of a recipe like this is, what do you like to have on your pizza? We both really like to have spinach, so I just diced up some spinach and we're going to stir that in because that's delicious to us. It's very exciting. The soup is finished. It looks amazing. It smells great. Yum, pizza soup for supper. This soup looks so hearty and delicious. Smells really great. Some things that you could do if you wanted to. You could top this with grated mozzarella cheese. You could serve this with garlic bread. You could serve this just with regular bread and butter. There's so many things that you can do to help make it a little more substantial if you want to. We are simply going to have this as soup, and we'll probably have seconds because that was a really big pot and there's lots of it. Soup for me for lunch today. The handsome one wants to have fruit for lunch today. I've got some skewers soaking here in the water because, yes, I'm going to be making skewers for on the barbecue tonight. I don't have a lot of options for veggies. I've got mushrooms, onions, some zucchini. This is a really old sweet potato, so I've cut it in half and I'll cut smaller pieces. I do have some peppers left. I'm going to do a couple beef and a couple pork. This is what we got so far. I'm setting them up in for 6 beef. And I haven't started yet, but there's going to be 4 pork. All right, this is what we got. We've got these 5 and this one are beef. These 4 are pork, but I didn't have quite as much pork as I did beef. And so actually the center piece of these ones are beef as well. Yeah, look great. And we're going to use this marinade. So this is the same marinade that we used the last time that we made skewers, and I happened to get this for 25 cents at the cash and carry store in Truro, Sobeys Cash and Carry in Truro. I had a few things left over on the counter, and the counter was very messy. So those things can't go back in the fridge. So I've just got them in a little tray here. We'll throw them on the barbecue and cook them up as well. These are looking great. I just basted them. Looking real good. These ones are the pork and beef. Looking great. Very happy. These look so good. Amaze balls. Totally. I'm very excited. I don't usually do the barbecuing. The handsome one put these on, and I did the rest of the barbecuing. So I'm very excited about this. Delicious skewers for supper tonight. Woo! This is what was left over from the shish kebabs last night, but this was much fuller than this. The handsome one has already had his lunch. I'm eating separate from him, different time. I had a commitment earlier, so I'm not having this. I'm going to have something else. I don't know what yet. Maybe a toasted tomato sandwich. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to have, a toasted tomato sandwich. Because I'm having a toasted tomato sandwich, the handsome one also now feels like he should also have something to eat, even though he already ate lunch. So he is having an orange and a plum. All right, my toast is ready. I think I'm going to add cheese, but I'm definitely going to add salt and pepper. It's looking good. No, I don't use mayo. I'm not a fan. All right, I'm using a cheese slice. Looks perfect. Yay! I'm excited about this, and I wanted to share, even though it's not done yet. So we got this box, this wooden box, for $10, and I was very interested in it because I've been wanting to make a wall of peas. So we took the lid off of the box. I say we very loosely. The handsome one did all of the work. I just have the ideas, and he is the one who makes the ideas happen. So we took the lid off, we cut the lid down, and now we have the lid. It's like a false bottom in here because we don't need much depth of soil to grow peas. And then we've attached these little posts that we got, and we're just running some twine to have space for the peas to grow up. I've already checked. The peas that I have are about a 60-day peas. So we're July, so that's fine. We'll be getting peas in September. I'm happy with that, and I'll show you maybe next week what this turned into. I've got some items set out here, and we're pretty excited about it. So we are having burgers for supper, and I'm going to have a cheddar one, and the handsome one is going to have a jalapeno. I've got these wedges set out, and I've got these nibblers. These are cheese curds, cheese snacking curds, but we are going to use them with this gravy. You guessed it, we are making poutine. So burgers with poutine. These look good, actually. They're seasoned. Excited. I haven't had a poutine in a long time. The packaged gravies are real easy to make, and I mostly just make gravy from broth or drippings from actual meat that I have, but I like to keep a couple of these for reasons just like this in the pantry. Those French's ones, those are from Dollarama. They're now 2 for $1.50. They used to be 2 for $1.25, but you know, inflation. It's 1 cup of water, and I put a little bit more than a cup in here, and the powdered mix. You whisk it together, bring it to a boil, voila, gravy. Doesn't take too long to start to thicken. All right, burgers are done. I'm just getting ready to pull the fries out. The curds are on. Let's get the gravy on. This looks so great. And number 2. Very exciting. Awesome. Looks amazing. Burgers and poutines. I'm hoping that these flavored curds will be just as delicious as non-flavored curds. Yum. It's still cool enough out for stovetop cooking. That's great. I pulled out a chicken breast yesterday out of the freezer, so that is thawed. We're going to use the stir-fry veggies, and I'm going to use this noodles. There are instant noodles, and we are going to have a chicken lo mein. Yay! Very simple. I'm not even adding anything extra into these veggies. I don't think. Maybe I will. This is what one chicken breast looks like, cut up. This is plenty for us for a stir fry. We absolutely don't need any more than this. I've added in the veggies. Now let's get this cooked. All right, I added in a little bit of cauliflower. I'm going to make a sauce for on this. So 2 tablespoons of this with 2 tablespoons of homemade red pepper jelly, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce with 1 tablespoon of oil. This looks amazing. I'm going to add in the noodles and the sauce. Let's get this all mixed in together. Very exciting. This looks amazing and it smells amazing. Yummy. We had some really awesome meals this week. I'm really pleased with everything. The temperature breaking was really great for us to be able to get back into some stovetop meals. We were able to clean some items out of the freezer, so that's always good because I like to clean things out because that gives me space to put new things in. We are looking at doing perhaps a tiny bit of a purge. I did find a bunch of items in the freezer. I was making space, and I did find a bunch of things that I had totally forgotten were in there. Some really cool stuff like ravioli and lobster. There was lobster in a bag, like cooked lobster that we cooked the lobster, and the lobster, we didn't eat it all, and so there's lobster in a bag in the freezer. So I didn't even remember that that was in there. There's a lot of really cool things. So stay tuned for some more great meals next week. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you would do so. It will help me. And like, shares, comments, they help me as well. Let me know what you think about this week's meals.